Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cassie and today we're talking about something a little bit different. So generally on my channel I'm talking about fashion and pageantry, but today as I was getting ready for filming, I just thought, it'd be kind of fun to talk about my Ancestry DNA test results. So if you know me, you know I'm kind of obsessed with genealogy and ancestry. I think this stuff is so much fun. So before we get started, if you do not already know the answers to this, I would love to know, just out of curiosity, comment down below, pause this video, and tell me what you think my Ancestry DNA results are going to be. What do you think? What do you think I got in me? I will say I am a bit of a mix. My mom always called us mutts growing up because we are a little bit of everything, but I'm super curious to know what you guys think my top items will be on my Ancestry DNA. So as you are filling that out down below, I will just go ahead and kind of jump into it. First things first, if you have not subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you join. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. My goal is 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2021. I just started my channel this year and I'm already having so much fun with it. So I'd love if you would subscribe, thumbs up this video, comment down below what you think my ethnicity is going to be. So one of the reasons I think I've always been obsessed with ancestry and genealogy is just growing up in a small town that was like 98% Caucasian. Being mixed, which you'll find out what in a minute, really helped me, I feel like, stand out. Even just as a young person, feeling like I had something that made me a little bit more unique. That was something that I really held on to and I was really proud of. So all through my life, I think it's just something that I've paid a little bit closer attention to because it was such a big part of my life growing up and I feel like it made me stand out. So in the town that I grew up in, there was a handful of mixed Latina families, a handful of mixed Asian families, and that was about it. I came from a town of about 3,000 people, and that was just kind of who was present in the town at that time. So being mixed definitely, I feel like, made me stand out, and it's something I'm really passionate about. So let's get into my results. So I will say I get two answers when I talk to people about this. So some people are, when they find out what I am, they're like, oh wow, I just thought you were white. And I'm like, okay, I feel like I have a little bit of like a caramely nature to me. I would hope that people would think I'm a little bit of something. I know I'm pretty racially ambiguous, but I would like to think people think I have a little bit of flavor of something. But I do get that quite often of like, oh, I just thought you were white. But other people, when they find out, they're like, oh yeah, I could actually see that. So without further ado, let's get into my results. So number one on my list, 25%, England and Northwestern Europe. So that one definitely comes from my dad's side. Number two, with 22%, Spanish. Those are my far and above my top two. They're 25 and 22%. So that right there is like 50% of me, Spanish and English. So the English comes from my dad's side, Spanish comes from my mom's side. And if you saw my mom, my aunt, or anyone else on that side of the family, you would be able to see the Spanish side. Number three, we're jumping way down to 12%, Ireland, which maybe that is where I get my green eyes from, which it's so funny because growing up, I have this theory that our perception of beauty is based on our mothers. This is just me personally because I find Latina women to be the most beautiful. Like if you look at any of my Pinterest boards of like beauty inspirations, 100% of the time they're like some sort of mixed Latina origin, and that's what my mom is. So I just have this theory that that's where it comes from. But my mom has dark brown hair, dark brown eyes, gorgeous dark skin, And so that's always been to me like the most beautiful. So there was a lot of times growing up where I was like, gosh, I wish I just had brown eyes, because then maybe people would understand that I'm Latina, but I have bright green eyes. And so that obviously doesn't read that way. But it's so funny because that's one of the things that I get a lot of compliments on is my eyes, because they do stand out and it's a little bit different. And when I did a mission project down in Guatemala, I really was able to connect with the kids down there. They thought I was so interesting because I had a skin tone similar to theirs, I had hair similar to theirs, but my eyes were really bright. So I have learned to love that about myself, even though growing up I always wanted brown eyes. Next up, 12% indigenous Americas, Mexico. So this is one we always knew. Growing up on my mom's side of the family, we always talked about being Mexican, and so I always knew that that was in my blood. What's interesting with Ancestry DNA though was the very first time I got my results, it only had indigenous America. It had nothing about Mexico. And so we were all kind of confused because we're like, okay, no, like there's no way every generation has talked about that us being Mexican and we're not Mexican. Like there's no way. So finally Ancestry went through, like, the longer you have your profile, the more distinct it gets, because more people in your family or your bloodline are doing it, so they're finding more information. So after a little while of being on Ancestry, it was finally able to tie our indigenous Americas back to specifically Mexico. So this is really interesting because it goes a little bit deeper. I guess I can show you on here. So, well, I don't know if there's a glare, but indigenous America, that is 12%, and it specifically shows New Mexico and southern Colorado, which is exactly as we knew it was, because my grandma and grandpa lived in southern Colorado and their family had been there for a while. We didn't know how long, but we did find we have ancestry in that region back to the 1700s when New Mexico was still part of Mexico. So that is the part of Mexico that we're from. And because of that, I really want to do a trip to New Mexico and do a little bit more ancestry research and be able to visit some of those places that my ancestors are from. Okay, and falling again way down in the list, we're down to 7% now. I'm 7% Scottish. So this is a really interesting one. Again, it comes from my dad's side, but my sister and I took the Ancestry DNA test at the same time, and she had way more Scottish than I did, which is really funny because her and her husband recently, well, pre-COVID, went to Scotland and just absolutely fell in love. But I have more Irish than her and she has more Scottish than me, so that just happens to be what our dad gave us. Number 6, the Balkans. I always have to look up where that is. I definitely feel like doing ancestry stuff has helped me figure out more places in the world. So the Balkans, also known as the Balkan Peninsula, are a geographic area in southeastern Europe. There's 12 countries. Okay. So within the Balkan Peninsula is Albania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Bulgaria, Kosovo, Montenegro, North Macedonia, Croatia, Greece, Italy, Romania, Serbia, Slovenia, and Turkey. So that is where the Balkans are. 3% Southern Italy. We had an exchange student that lived with us for a year from Italy. So as soon as I got this back on my results, I sent it to him and I was like, look, I'm Italian too. And this is a funny one. I would say people that don't guess white or Latina, I will often get like Greek or Italian, which again, I think it makes sense with like the light eyes and the caramel colored skin. So I do have 3% Italian, 3% Portugal, which is another place I would love to go visit, 3% Indigenous Americas North. So again, we knew we had Native American heritage. We haven't been able to trace it back to exactly where. We believe it's Navajo, but we're still trying to kind of connect all of those dots. 3% Wales, again on my dad's side. 2% Baltics, which I always get Baltics and Balkans mixed up. Apparently I'm both, but I think Baltics is closer to Spain. Yes, Baltic states. Oh, no, I was totally wrong. The Baltic states are Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. 1% North African, which that was a really exciting one. I have no idea where that tie comes from. Well, that's not entirely true. I know it's on my mom's side because she has that 1% as well. And then 1% Cameroon, Congo, and Western Bantu people. Again, very exciting. That one definitely stands out from a lot of the others on my list. And those are all my test results. So I think it is so much fun to do this and study a little bit about where you're from. So I will show this little map here. So it shows like a map of the world, and I hope you can see that through my dirty screen. But those are all the different places that I have ancestral ties to. So I just think that's so interesting and very funny that being mixed Latina, I have literally nothing. Like the one continent, okay, I have none on Asia and none in South America. And that is so interesting to me. But yeah, we've got Europe, Africa, and Central and North America. So that is my ancestry results. I think it's so fun to learn a little bit more about this. I think it's just really interesting because it's just something that makes all of us unique. Or even I have done this and shared it with friends and found that, wow, we actually have some really close genealogy. You know, it's just something fun to kind of bond over and talk about because we're all people of the world regardless of where you come from. And so just being able to find those uniquenesses and those ties to other people, it's just really exciting to me. So I'm really curious if your predictions were correct. I can't wait to go through the comments on this video and see if you guys were able to correctly guess my ancestry. I would also love to know in the comments down below, have you done an ancestry test? I did it through Ancestry, but I know there's also like 23andMe and some of those other companies that do the same thing. So did you have any results that you were surprised by? I know you always hear about those cases of like someone found out they were adopted, or someone found out that they're related to like a president, or you know, really exciting things like that. I have not found any super crazy ancestral ties yet, but I just have the free membership. I have not paid for the upgrade, but I was able to find out not too long ago my like grandparents 5 back on my mom's side, and I was able to share that information with her, which was really exciting because she hadn't been able to get that far back in our genealogy. And I'm also, if you've watched any of my fertility videos, you know we are trying to start a family, and I'm very passionate about having middle names be family names. So that gave me some new unique Spanish names that I could potentially use as a future child's middle name. So I just love getting to learn more about ancestry and heritage and things of that nature. So thank you so much for tuning in and watching. I know this was a little bit different video, but hopefully it was fun for you. If you have any other ideas of content that you think would be fun, go ahead and comment down below. I'm always looking for suggestions of things that you would like me to talk about or spend a little more time on. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys back here next time.